ruthless system. The word socialist, after all, is derived from society. It suggests we're all in this together. Bernie Sanders calls himself a democratic socialist, and he almost won the Democratic nomination by promising socialist benefits.
This campaign is about moving the United States toward universal health care.
At this pro-Sanders event, his supporters carry red flags. Red, because that's the color of socialism and communism. Don't these people know history? The Soviet Union murdered millions of people. And look at what it's done to people. Look what socialism has done to people in Venezuela. 50 years ago, Venezuelans had the highest wages in South America. Then they elected Hugo Chavez. He said, we'll make it even better with socialism. American leftists were excited. A hack at Salon wrote about Hugo Chavez's economic miracle. But what really happened? These days, thousands of people wait in long lines to try to buy food. This line goes around the block and then back again. Some lines seem to stretch for miles. Often people wait in line and then find the store has run out of food.
No hay alimentos, no hay nada.
Food's so scarce that people fight in the street over bags of flour. Ever see this in greedy capitalist free market countries? No. How do things get this bad in what was once the richest country in South America? How do they get that bad? Well, let's ask some people who should know. Gloria Álvarez lives in Guatemala and has watched socialist ideas wreck parts of her continent. Fergus Hodgson ran a newspaper that reports on Latin America. So how'd this happen, Fergus?
There was a great deal of envy. There was a great deal of jealousy. Yeah, there was people were.
They didn't like it that some people were rich.
Of course, because what happened is that with the development of the oil industry in particular, foreign investors came in early on, and many people got rich to that. Many of them got wealthier. Others did not, and there was a perception that obviously there was a mercantilist economy as well. So some people were getting rich even back then in an unjust way. So if you come in and say, I'm going to solve your problems, I'm going to overcome this, that's an appealing line.
And Gloria, is it unfair? I call this death by socialism?
No, actually it's not unfair. And one of the things that we need to understand is that Venezuela is the most vivid example of something that is going on regionally, that is really well planned. When we thought that communism was history after the Berlin Wall fell, in Latin America, socialism had a new opportunity to win elections democratically, not with Marxist guerrillas, not as Cuba did, but to have the same agenda implemented. And so what they have done...
Yeah, Chavez was elected.
Yes, he was elected, Evo Morales was elected, Daniel Ortega, everyone that is now part of the socialism of the 21st century agenda was democratically elected, not through violence, but through cultural manipulation of the language, of the media, of the arts. We are going to implement the ideas that socialism is good, where people think that they want this kind of society. Because it's good, it's going to be better for everyone, and the leader, this is the other idea, the leader is synonym of the will of the people. The leader knows better than any individual how is everyone supposed to lead their lives.
And North Americans don't understand the problems that socialism causes either, as the Bernie Sanders campaign showed. Dude, this cartoon depicts a socialist-loving Bernie supporter trying to convince a man from Venezuela to feel the burn. The Venezuelan says, been there, done that. He's already been burned, and he's hungry.
In Latin America, the government gives privileges to certain sectors, making the economy something only for the few. This creates resentment of the larger amounts of people, and this is when they go to some extreme. It's the same that happened in Germany after the crisis of the World War I. When Hitler said, this is the fault of the Jews, people say, okay, then we're going to elect you to change the situation. They blame free market as if we in Latin America have ever had free market, which is not the case.
The capacity of the socialists to defend their position in the face of overwhelming evidence is actually impressive. So for example, they'll say we have shortages, that's because capitalists are hoarding. Well, if you put a price cap and say you have to sell everything way below cost, you're going to hoard things. You're not going to sell them, so
and
you can't
the
win.
supermarkets won't carry it. The food goes.
Of course not, yeah.
it's not just that Venezuela's out of food and opportunity. People die there because there are no medicines. This girl's suffering because she doesn't have access to medicines she needs. Her hospital is even out of basic medical supplies like alcohol. As a result, it's mostly empty. People don't even bother going to the hospital. So, Gloria, you have friends who are smuggling in medicine?
Yes, because it's something that is forbidden. And the funny thing is, when they go to the airport, some colonels, some sergeants that are in charge of taking these medicines away from their hands, they are asking for some of the medicines for their moms, for their grandmothers, because they also, the military is also in need for medicine for their elders. So you just increment corruption.
In America, celebrities are some of the more clueless people. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West recently visited Cuba. They did their celebrity poverty tour. Kim wrote, "I love Cuba, one of our best trips." Here's her sister Chloe posing in front of text that reads, "Fidel." Here's movie star Sean Penn hugging Venezuela's current dictator. Oliver Stone claims the old dictator did great things for Venezuela. Stone made a movie about him, how he grew up in poverty.
This affected his view of Venezuela, as well as ultimately his lifelong mission to transform the country.
Chavez is the people.
Mm-hmm.
People buy this.
We should point out that the information people are receiving is not accurate, right? I mean, this is where I wanted to mention the fact that there's no free speech in Venezuela, that there are over 105, well, there are 105 political prisoners right now, that the opposition newspapers are closing down because they can't get newsprint. They can't import the raw materials to get the information out.
They also get attacked by soldiers and representatives of the government.
We know personally people who are exiles, people who are former journalists in Venezuela, and people I've worked with closely. They had to use pen names to conceal their identity in the nation.
Gloria sent us this video made by people in Venezuela.
Has escuchado algo sobre las noticias de qué es lo que pasa en Venezuela, pero realmente sabes por qué protestamos. Protestamos porque estamos cansados de hacer largas colas para comprar leche, azúcar. El venezolano muere cada 20 minutos.
It is punished with jail if you try to film, for example, as I did, if they would have caught me because there are military personnel outside.
So all these pictures you're taking secretly?
Yes, you have to. Otherwise, you can end up in jail.
Back to the food shortages. Although socialism caused the problem, Venezuela's president blames speculators and capitalism.
La inflación inducida, especulativa, de la burbuja económica creada por la guerra económica, de un capitalismo parasitario.
Parasitic capitalism is the problem.
This is one of the most incoherent things about the regimes of the socialism of the 21st century. They tell people, listen, you're too weak, you're too dumb. I will take you out of poverty. But at the same time that they present themselves as the Messiah that will take you out of poverty, they tell you that being rich is being immoral, that being capitalistic is being immoral. How can you say that if someone starts producing, then you will punish them for being successful? But this is the essence.
In this country, the Democrats have been saying that.
Exactly.
Maybe that was why they were voted out. I ask you on social media about similarities between America and socialist Venezuela, between Trump and Chavez. On Facebook, David Jones posted, Obama was far more like Chavez. Both believe in government control of every aspect of life. Michael Thompson added, Donald Trump will stop the socialists from turning America into a third world country. And Fergus, you like Trump, so you think he...
Well, I don't think anyone thinks Trump is some kind of free market savior. Let's be clear about that.
Right.
My concern is with these comparisons to Hugo Chavez. Hugo Chavez was a military man. He led 2 coups, violent coups that led to the deaths of many people against his government. Trump hasn't had any role in government ever. I mean, he hasn't shown any of that kind of violence or brutality.
It's an unfair comparison, but, you know, we like to make those on the Stossel Show. On Facebook, I liked what Tris Turfett posted. Trump is a crony capitalist. Chavez, a true believer in complete government control. Both are terrible, but Chavez is far worse.
They have this thing in common, saying, I am going to defend the people. Of course, the people is synonym of me. against this enemy that is created. In the case of Hugo Chavez, it's the oligarchs, the crony capitalists. In the case of Trump, it was immigrants, illegal immigrants. But there is another component of the populist manipulation that was used with Sanders, with Hillary Clinton, which is offering free stuff. There is not such thing as a free lunch. And this is a message that you can also see with Chavez,
But some
with
people are so
Clinton.
rich, and you can just take from them and give to the people in need.
Yeah, you can do it. Actually, like, that's the redistribution that has taken Latin America into misery. But that doesn't mean it's for free. Someone pays the
Why
price.
does it take us into misery? Why doesn't it just help the poor?
Because when you distribute, what you do is you take what exists in a determined moment. From then on, there is no innovation, there's no creation. That's why Havana looks like a picture of 1959, because they distributed what was there available, but after that, there's no more creation.